You look like the term. I can't do an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice. What's up, everybody? Jake and Chris here for Dude Ranch DIY. We are out here in the wood yard. If you've been following along, you saw the last video where I tested the LINKIT conveyor filling up an uncut IBC tote with firewood, to which I then stacked it and basically almost got a full large tote out of a loosely filled off the conveyor tote, which to my surprise was great. I'm hoping that I get a bunch of feedback in that video. It's actually going to be posted tomorrow, so I haven't heard said feedback yet. But I was telling Chris, and you were pretty excited not to have to, potentially not have to stack anymore.
Yeah, stacking is necessary at times, but if I can avoid it, I would avoid it at all costs.
Yeah, actually, Sarah and I just got done stacking what was in the dump trailer, and we filled up about 3.5 full totes, and we were talking about the potential of not having to stack anymore and how nice that would be. Now, granted, I did say, we still have like 55 totes that are already cut, but all these 20 over here, sure it would be nice if we didn't have to stack them. So let me show you what we got going on. Chris has been hard at work with the 500i, bucking up all of these rounds. We got a little bit of birch, and it looks like mostly oak in there, right?
Yeah, mostly white oak and 2 birch logs.
Yeah, so the pile is, I'd say, I don't know, we're almost maybe like a third, maybe a little bit more than a third of the way through.
Yeah.
Getting close to that halfway mark. 500i is ripping. Again, Chris agreed with me that it's not as labor intensive cutting with the 500i.
No, nowhere near as labor intensive as it used to be.
Yeah.
The saw just has so much power, it flies right through the wood, and you're not standing there fighting the saw, trying to sharpen your blades and get everything nice just before you start, and then hit a rock, and then your day is screwed.
Yeah, that's it. So today we're gonna fire up the RuggedMade splitter. We don't have a ton of time, but it's actually a beautiful day and it's starting to cool down, which is nice. And the hopes is that with Chris here, he can kind of both cut and manage flattening out the tote, I guess, right?
Yeah, we'll see if we can't squeeze just a little bit more out of these loose stack totes.
Yeah, try and maximize them, so that maybe we could get, if we were to stack it, a fully stacked large tote, which would be really nice, because then there'd be no question that it was a full third of a cord. Would you agree?
I would agree.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna fire up the RuggedMade splitter and the LINKIT electric conveyor, and we're gonna get to work. guys, that was 30 minutes of splitting, and Chris is like a mad Lego scientist over here.
Yeah, I went a little crazy. I was, as we were splitting, I was kind of thinking about our friends Patty and Jeff over at Mountaintop Outdoors.
Go check them out.
Yeah, how they kind of fan out the top so that they can cone it and the water sheds off nice. I thought I might be able to get the same effect here, but I did not. It turned into more like a Lego castle.
Well, I mean, I think we definitely, it's safe to say that we have a full third of a cord there, because not only did you do your crazy Lego, you know, Andrew Camerata castle top over there,
yeah,
but you were manipulating it the entire time with a pitchfork every, what, like couple minutes or so?
Yeah, every like 3 or 4 logs that we split, I'd go up there and just kind of level it out, try to fill in the corners the best I could.
Yeah, and I mean, it shows, like, oh, you can see all the pieces are basically laying like horizontal on the bottom, you know, for the most part, and it's nice and full. So I am confident in saying that that has more wood in it than the one that where I just simply let it fall in. Mm-hmm. And the way that you actually did the top there, we might even be able to put a lid on top of that, you know?
Potentially.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. It might be a little bit more manipulating, but
right. I mean, I don't think a lid is crucial. It is nice in the wintertime if it snows to keep the snow off of it and, you know, from melting down and everything, but not essential. So we've been cruising through, cranking through the wood over here, but we got 2 more empty totes. So I think we'll probably run out of wood before we fill up both those totes, but let's keep going.
All right.
What's up, Betsy? Hi, Betsy. Hi. How are you, sweetie? Hi, Sammy. How you doing, you old lady? Well, all right, guys, another half hour later, and that is all that we have left to split up. The LINKIT conveyor worked really good. Chris and I were just talking about it. I mean, for what we're doing right now, it's so
perfect.
It's working fantastic. Yeah. I mean, the wood, we were talking, as soon as the wood drops off this and makes decent contact with this rubber belt, not only does it have these big lugs, but I think just the rubber itself grabs it and it goes right up. Nothing like the old green bean where it used to like sit there and, you know, it would take forever for it to actually grab. We did have our first jam up today.
We did.
And what did the conveyor do? Why don't you walk them through just quickly.
So I noticed that the conveyor stopped conveying, and I just heard like this high-pitched squeaking noise. Turned out there was a piece of firewood that got jammed between one of the lugs and the top of this handle, or the bottom of this handle, and it just stopped the belt. It worked great. I was able to hit the stop button on the other side, assess what was going on, see if it was a top end or low end failure or jam, and hit the reverse button, got unjammed, sent her back on
just
her way.
Kept going. Didn't break a belt, didn't break any links. Like, that was great. So I mean, these things, like, if they do get caught up or jammed up, it just kind of stops. Yeah. Which is nice. We got another full tote over here. Not quite as elaborate as Chris's other tote, but I'd say it you know, is probably all of a third of a cord, just because, again, you were manipulating it again, right?
Yeah, as soon as there was kind of a mound in the middle, I'd flatten it out every 2-3 logs or so, because we were splitting larger rounds this time. Just leveled it out, tried to kind of stack it as it went, and, you know, that's what came of it. Maybe we can see if there's a difference between the elaborate one and this one, but I agree with you. It doesn't seem like it's all that much
right.
more
I mean,
in the elaborate tote than this tote.
I think this tote is probably a third of a cord. I'd be venturing to say that tote that you did your elaborate thing on is probably more than a third of a cord. But, you know, I'd rather give the customer more than less. So that's great. Also, because this wood, you know, it's filled with moisture, it will shrink over time as well. So that's good. So one other thing that I discussed in the last video, but Chris just brought up now, is that we're not able to sift out all of the fine kindling pieces and scraps quite as much conveying directly into the tote. I mean, that being said, the RuggedMade splitter does have the you know, catch tray table with the holes in it, and it drops down. And I mean, the bin underneath is pretty full right now, just looking at it. So I mean, there is always going to be a give and a take. Mm-hmm. I'd say
our time is more valuable.
Yeah, time is more valuable than the scraps. I have never once gotten a complaint about the scraps. Granted, I have always been stacking into the totes by hand and kind of minimizing the amount of crap, for lack of a better term, that goes into them. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know. You know, I think most of the big firewood producers around here, maybe they have tumblers and stuff, but a lot of guys are also just splitting directly off a splitter into a conveyor into the back of a truck, kind of like we're doing right here. So, you know, I don't have too much more to say about that. So yeah, all in all, I think this was a success. Let us know in the comments below what you think about this setup. We really want to hear it. Let us know how much wood you think is in the totes, if you think this is a good idea, or if it's a terrible idea. We want to hear it. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. We really appreciate it. Give us a big thumbs up if you like the video. Click that subscribe button down below. Getting close to 10,000. Who knows, by the time that I post this video, we might have hit it. Yet I doubt it. So hit the subscribe button down below. Questions, comments, feedback down in the comments section. For now, I'm Jake.
And I'm Chris.
This is Dude Ranch DIY. That's Betsy in the background. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you here next time.